Around this time of year, I seem to have a bit of nostalgia for some of the memories that I had during the time that I had played some video games, and just a general sense of nostalgia about some things in my life from when I was younger. And one of those times was I remember I played this online game, and on the game, you could socialize with other people, socialize with friends, meet new people, and just explore different areas. And that game that I played was called RuneScape. And I played many hours of that game. And the game requires a pretty big time investment to understand the game fully. Back then, it did at least because my internet was so slow that it took too long for pages to load for me to really learn much about the game. And when I was playing it for the fun of it. It wasn't for the optimization of making everything be the best as possible. And it was usually around this time of day. I remember that, in the evening, the sun was setting, and I would have the sunlight, the cool evening. And during the summer, when it was warmer out, it would cool down in the evening. And going through fall time around this time of year, Um, the sunset was nice, and I would just sit there playing the game. And I remember the people that I would play the game with online, and there was probably at least over a dozen people or more from school that also played the game, and we would all get on there. Sometimes some of them might not log in for a day or something, but um, everybody played the game quite a lot. And there was one person where his father played the game more than anybody. And he played it in a way that it was just about optimizing everything. And whereas I played more in a way of being creative, trying new things, and doing things that might not be as optimized, but it was more fun and I enjoyed it more. And some of the skills that I enjoyed in the game were more laid back. For example, I preferred doing wood cutting in the game more than anything. And I also enjoyed doing fishing. And my woodcutting level was my highest skill when I played the game. But what I enjoyed about it the most was just the ability to just log on, play, um, talk with some of the people I knew, and um, it gave me something to focus on and relax because there was a lot going on, and after school, I would come home and play. And it was something that I looked forward to when, school was boring. Might not have enjoyed some of the classes. And I would come home and play the game for a little bit. And I remember this one place I used to live in the living room, the uh, when the sun was setting, it was where the house was facing was towards where the sun would set. And I remember just the sun setting off in the distance and just playing the game and uh, just being on there, other friends at the time that I had and people that I knew, and just socializing and, exploring the game. And then just playing it until, maybe 9 or 10 p.m. And of course, I'd take a break in between there to, get up and eat or something. But I would just play it, during the evening, and after school into the part of the night. And then, um, but I always tend to have kind of nostalgia about certain times of the year or different seasons from when I was younger. And Um, I feel like I don't really have as much of connections with things now as what I used to. Like I do things in life now, I have new experiences, I go places, but nothing really has kind of a as much of an everlasting effect on me or memories about things. And for me, a lot of those memories are from when I was, 12 to 16. And as I've gotten older, like in my early 20s, I didn't really have as much of a vivid memory about things as I did when I was uh, between 12 to 15. And then now that I'm older, um, you know, I don't remember things, like, I don't have as much vivid memory of things as I do from when I was in my early 20s. For example, I remember things better from age 15 in more vivid detail, just as someone normally would remember something that happened that day. I remember from back then better than the things that I remember that have happened just last week now. Um, and I know that as we get older, things kind of get repetitive. We get a job, we do the same thing kind of every day. You've got all these responsibilities and stuff. But even as I got older, when I was in my 20s, and I had to work a lot more and everything, living on my own, paying all my own bills, um, not much really changed from then until later on. Um, there was a point in my life I remember when I was around like my mid 20s. I was working two jobs, and so I didn't really have much free time to do anything at all. Pretty much all I did was work. I didn't have much time for gaming or anything. But now as I'm older, and if I go back, let's say a couple of years ago, there was a point in time where I wasn't working a lot of hours. In fact, I was sort of working part time. It wasn't full time, but it was kind of in between full time and part time as far as the hours go. So it was around like 28 hours a week. And when I think about, you know, how when you get older, you have more responsibilities and got to work a lot and things get repetitive, I thought about maybe it's just because, you're working so much and everything. But even during the time when I wasn't working much and I was doing a lot of things with my extra free time, I went back to playing that game that I used to play, RuneScape. I don't have much memories of anything from that time either. And regardless of, if I was working a lot when I was younger, I have more memories of things back then. Like I have more vivid memories of different events and things that happened in my life, people that I interacted with, new experiences I had. And now as I've gotten older, I've done so many new things in my life in the past year, and more things in the past year than I had done in my life for the past 15 years. And yet, I don't really feel like I have as much of like any like it's like the memories aren't really stuck there as well. It's like I don't have um as much enjoyment from new things as I once used to have. And I don't have anything stressing me, nothing at all. And I used to think that, maybe it was because I was stressed or something. And yet, regardless of whether or not I'm stressed now as I'm older and I do all these new things and try new experiences, I just don't really have any real like vivid memories of stuff or really anything. Like I could go do something new this week, and then in a couple of weeks somebody will mention it to me like, "Hey, do you remember when you went and did this or that?" And I'm like, "I did what? When was that?" And I forget about it. Whereas something from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I remember it as if it happened just last week or yesterday. Um, so it's not a matter of not doing things or trying new experiences. And it's not a matter of not having any hobbies because I have hobbies. I do things. I go out places. I try new experiences, and um, I'm not I'm not sure what it is, but I've noticed this a lot as I've gotten older, and I don't know if it's just me or if other people experience this too. But um, does this get like this more as I get older? Because as I've gotten older, things kind of just feel everything kind of feels detached. Like I don't like things. I feel like things used to have more meaning to it. I don't know if it was because I was younger and so there's more time in my life to do things, but things just don't seem really as enjoyable anymore. I don't know why. Um, because for me, I know to appreciate what I have. You know, from the life I had when I was younger. Um, and so if I was, let's say I'm 20 years old back then, many years ago, let's say if I was doing something like was working out and made some achievement of lifting a certain amount of weight, or went to a new city, or went to a new place, or whatever it was, right? It had more of a lasting, impactful, you know, like a vivid memory to it. I can recall it often. It comes back to me. Whereas now I do all these new things and go places and do things, and I either forget about them or things don't seem as enjoyable. But even during the times when I had a lot of stress in my life and I wasn't doing much of anything, and life really was kind of boring because I was doing the exact same thing almost every day. And maybe even during times when I wasn't very happy and I was very stressed, I have more vivid memories of that than I do the times when I'm older doing all kinds of new things and exploring places and doing the hobbies and things that I enjoy. And yet I remember something from 10, 15, 20 years ago, something as completely random as a walk that I went for, or the exact same thing that I did that entire year almost every single day, or a workout I had when I was 16 or 19. And yet now, if I do a workout from a month ago, nothing seems very unique about it or anything. Um, and I've been working out for a long time, so I can memorize all the workouts, like how much I did, what day it was. Once I have a certain routine, for example, I have a routine of lifting for 4 days, taking one rest day. And let's say on the first day, I train posterior chain, like hamstrings, lower back, middle back, upper back, and lats. Day 2, chest, front delt, side delt, rear delt. Day 3, quads, adductors, abductors, and calves. Day 4, tricep, bicep, trapezius, and forearms. Day 5, take a rest. Day 6, repeat that cycle. Now, I can remember, you know, all the workouts and everything, but I have to look and really think about it, even though I've been doing it for a long time. Whereas, back when I was working out in high school, I still remember the workouts I did and the weights that I lifted and what month it was of the year. Whereas now I struggle to remember certain things that I did last week that are completely new experiences. And yet I remember things better from 10, 15, 20 years ago that was boring and nothing new. Um, I'm still trying to understand this. I think that's part of why I have so much nostalgia about things from a long time ago, is just that I feel like for some reason I'm not getting enjoyment from new things, or things that should be exciting just are not exciting at all. Even though I'm trying all kinds of new things. But in general, I have the same type of hobbies. But I do those hobbies and I'm not getting any enjoyment from them like I once did. And yet there's not really anything different I have any interest in. So, but just a couple of thoughts I have about that, and a little bit about the time when I used to play RuneScape. I'll talk about RuneScape again in the future and some other things that happened when I played the game. Kind of kind of went off on a tangent, I guess, but it's all related. But anyways, this is some of my few thoughts I have right now about all that. And anything else I think of that I want to talk about, I'll go ahead and I'll make a recording of it. But that's all for now. So do let me know if you ever have these type of, I guess, events or type of memory or learning. I don't know. I'm not sure what to call it. Just seems like things were better at one time. Not really because of anything in particular, but just things seemed more enjoyable.